The alarming spike in COVID cases, especially in Texas. We bring in Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia, who represents East Houston. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Congresswoman.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now, the Houston mayor has called for a second shutdown of the city, as you know, saying that the positive results from March and April were negated when Texas reopened. Do you agree? And what measures do you think should be mandated by law in your city, state, and the entire country as a whole in order to try to stop the spread?
Well, the mayor's absolutely right. You know, we didn't shut down early enough. The governor has failed to order a shutdown. He failed to early order a mask law across the state. He's not given the local officials the flexibility to do what they need to do in their own cities and their own counties. So the mayor's absolutely right. We need to do more because I know that we can do better.
When you say do better, what in your estimation would that entail?
Well, you know, he put a pause on the reopening. We should have just slammed the brakes and stopped. We should have done the mask order sooner. We need to make sure that we have a more robust system of testing throughout the state. We need to make sure that people have the protective equipment, the masks. You know, we can't tell people, put your mask on, and then people not know where to get them, and people that are in the vulnerable populations and perhaps poor don't know where to get them. And we need to make sure that we provide the help to the local governments to provide, to work on the testing, to work with the nurses and hospitals. You know, we have a really, really sad state of affairs in Texas when, you know, we've got refrigerated trailers going to the valley, going to Corpus, because the morgues can't hold the bodies. We have now had the third day in a row of over 100 dying a day. The third day in a row. That's unacceptable. I know we can do better, and I know we can build back better.
And you sponsored the federal Wear Your Mask Act, which would require masking at all federal facilities. But at home, why do you think that so many Texans are resistant to masks? And do they have any claim to personal liberties when it comes to mask wearing?
Well, you know, it's about the health and safety of yourself and others around you. And I think that our government needs to set the example. We control our federal buildings. That's a great place to start. We should order and make sure that everyone that comes into our buildings is wearing a mask. And if someone shows up that doesn't have one, that we have them readily available. Quite frankly, I think masks should be just as available in any building as toilet paper is in the bathroom. It should not be that hard to find a mask because it's such a simple way that we as individuals can do our part. We can then, of course, wash our hands and do the social distancing, but it's such a simple act. And I don't find that there's that tremendous number of people that are refusing to wear it. I think it's because they just don't understand it, and they don't understand where they can get them. It's like testing. There's so many sites that are free. There's so many sites that you can go the same day and get tested, but people don't know where they are. We have to do better at getting the messaging out to make sure that people can do their part.
And let's turn now to the economy. Lawmakers have just 11 days before key jobless benefits run out, and the parties are nowhere near agreeing on an overall price tag for the next relief package. What compromises do you think that Democrats need to make in order to ensure that Americans get the much-needed help they need?
Well, you're absolutely right. That's been on my mind, and I know it's on the mind of the 2.9 million Texans that are unemployed, and so many of them are depending on the state benefits, but additionally our $600 supplement from the federal government. That's set to expire in 2 weeks. We've got to make sure that we take care of that. We've got to make sure that we have an extension. And if we have to sit down and talk about, you know, if it's not 600, well, maybe it should be 500 or maybe 400, but we've got to make sure we do something because people are hurting. People are worried about what food they have on the table. They're worried about the roof over their heads, whether they can pay for the rent, whether they can pay for the mortgage. And now they're worried about whether or not their kids are going to be able to go to school come the end of next month. So we are under a lot of stress as working people. So we know that we've got to do something. I hope we can come to some agreement. I look forward to going to Washington next week and working on these issues, because I know that in my district, people are hurting.
And you're, of course, a Joe Biden surrogate. His campaign has rolled out a new TV ad airing in Texas, a state that no Democratic presidential candidate has won in 44 years. Here's Biden's message.
This virus is tough, but Texas is tougher. We can stop the spread, but it's up to all of us to do it. We have to step up and do both the simple things and the hard things to keep our families and our neighbors safe. Wear a mask, wash your hands, stay home if you can, and socially distance when you go out.
Congressman, what's your over-under on whether he can carry your state? And should he be making an even bigger push with more money and ads to make this happen? Some have said that he needs to make sure he actually even physically goes to Texas despite the social distancing.
Whether or not we can ever go back to the retail politics of rallies and knocking on doors personally is yet to be seen, because, again, the health outcomes are driving everything. It's about keeping people safe first. But I think the ad was great. It's an acknowledgement that Texas is in play, that we're a battleground state. And I think it was a very strong message, because, again, it underscores what we can do ourselves that's so simple. And Joe is going to be ready to build back and build back better. He knows Texas is tough. He's absolutely right, we are. But we've got to do our part. And we've got to make sure that we continue it until we can beat this thing and not slack up. And I think people are going to be surprised that Joe Biden will carry the state of Texas.
Oh, you do believe that? And also, what do you make of the fact that Biden doesn't name Trump by name in the ad?
I really didn't even notice it. I'm glad you pointed it out. I come from the old school of politics myself, that you don't ever mention your opponent's name unless you absolutely have to, because there's no reason to.
Congresswoman, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.